Okay, continuing on from the last session. Alrighty, what I've done is I've popped in front of you a little drawing. It's called One Large Room. It is just one room I would go into. Sometimes we're furnished, sometimes we're unfurnished. We have a television over here. We have windows. We have 2 air conditioning units, are the yellow things with the stripes, the big yellow blobs of the lights. And that's where the furniture is. This is a walk through into the main part of the house. This is a door into a bedroom, and these are 2 doors going to the outside of the property. There is no right answer to this, as there's not one answer. Where would you test, Dave? Where would you
test?
Back of
the TV for starters, Pete.
So you test the back of the TV, as in the window?
Yeah, also, well, back of the TV.
You can't test anything that can be taken out of the house. Okay. So your furniture's off, so you've got the window frame over here. And the construction. Yeah. Anyone else?
Door frame.
Door frame?
So outside.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I'd go near the couch.
Yes.
Yep, by there.
Why would you go near the couch?
Seating area, and there's an airway close by.
Yep, excellent. Yep. Anyone else?
Light fittings.
Light fittings. We're going to try and stay away from the light fittings because they're up on the ceiling. So if we had a light fitting on the wall, maybe, but these ones are actually up on the ceiling. But yes, it would definitely have been attractive to the light fittings, and if it came up positive, they would have to go.
And then the door frame around the double doors.
Yeah. Okay, because I know this room, this is my lounge room. So I know this room really well. Now I know that most of the time when we sit in there, we have these closed, this closed, we have this window closed, and we have only one window over here propped open, and it's one of those ones that pops out, and that allows the air to flow out there and then flow around here. So I know that would probably be right there, the highest point in the room. But in saying that, if the air wasn't on, then it might be over here where they sit and smoke and play their video games. We all often go to a wall above where it's clearly been seen that they're actually playing a video game on there. So on your little handout there, if you just put some marks on where you think, just put some X's on where you think would be a couple of different spots so you can refer to it later. And when I say there's no one right answer to that, it's because, again, this is where it depends what you've got to work with on the day. You might have furniture, you might not have furniture. You might have the history of they had a cat, they never had the doors open. That's why we never have our doors open. We've got a cat that doesn't go outside, so we only have the windows propped, all the windows propped open so the cat can't get out. This is a place that we did, and I tested in the kitchen. I tested just to the right. Now, if I tested up inside this piece here, the extraction fan, it would probably be very high. There's no doubt about that at all. But that's not what I would call a true and a fair reading. So I want to know how it's affecting the actual house itself. So I would test over here. Now, if you found anything over here, you can bet your bottom buck that this has to be cleaned out 100%. So that is, to me, that little bit there is irrelevant. That was of more interest to me because that's where it would have actually been soaked into on the wall, and if we had to clean it, that would be what we would be cleaning to. On this one here, this was a sad little house. The lady thought that it was her husband smoked dope while she hadn't been living there. The house was absolutely 100% riddled in meth the whole way back to front. And she said, no, there's no possible way that he would smoke it in the house because the children stay there with him. So there's, when people say that to you, just go, oh, yes, I'm sure that's how it be. You don't burst their bubble. It's just go in and do your testing. But the bed had actually sat here. There was a lot of drug paraphernalia on both conditioning unit. It recycled in and out of it, so it sucked it in up here, so we just tested there and it came up very high. And this property here, I'm just trying to think which property that was. That one there was, this room was like their socialising room. The rest of the house was basically left to roam. This was the room here that had the most of the meth into it. It was just a bedroom just across from the hallway from the bathroom. But they used to come up here, do all their smoking, play their games and that was the one where it came up. Now this was where we tested because that's where the airflow would have pushed out. They also had the windows completely blacked out and silver paper put over them, so we figured they wouldn't have been opening those windows. So, and that came up fairly high. So it is attracted to, very much so, as I said earlier, metal, and we have the air and the plastics and the paint. This paint here, when you get feature wall paint, it loves feature wall paint. For some reason, that really, I call it feature wall paint. It's the really heavy Dulux paint that you get.
Heavy pigments.
Yeah, really heavy pigments. And I don't know, I've painted in my daughter's room and things when I go to houses, and when you go to chip some off, it comes off very thick, it just peels right back. That particular style of paint, that thick paint, Beth loves it and loves getting in there. It's very hard to get off. Quite often, what we would have to do is we'd just get in scrapers and strip that back, and the wall behind it would be fine. So, yeah, so methamphetamine is attracted to pretty well anything it can be absorbed into. If you go to page 14 of your booklets, okay, there's just a few questions there. If you could just work through with the people next to you, chat away, and just put in a few little bits and pieces of 5 things that you'd photograph in a room.
Total? View of the room, total from the door.
Oh, well, I just decided into I would take photos of the walls, decorating fence, glass doors.
Yep.
Don't worry, I don't check out.
And sources.
It's just more to make you think about what you actually.
More comments?
There's no real, it's not about wrong and right answers, it's just about thinking.
So you were saying you don't test things that can be removed, so you wouldn't test a couch then?
Wouldn't test a couch, I wouldn't test a TV, I wouldn't test a fish tank, photos on the wall.
You can go behind the
hangings.
furniture.
You can go behind the furnishings, yes, most definitely. If I tested someone's TV, and it is attracted very much to the TV because you have the heat as well at the back of the TV, so and the plastic. If I went to someone's house and tested there and came back and said, oh, the TV came up at 40 micrograms per 100 centimetres square, they'd go, we only just got in the house last week. There's not much you can say to that. So you're looking for something that is part of the structure when you're doing your testing.
I actually knew somebody who went to a drug lab to clean up. That was their job, to remove it, and something exploded, and the man was badly injured. How risky is it for you to go to a house like that? Are you cleared first?
If there's absolutely anything on site with regard to chemicals, we go back straight out, and we have the property cleared of chemicals before we would even go in. We don't handle chemicals, we don't touch anything. There are chemicals out there that you're going to need to shake it and it'll explode in your hands. Once upon a time I was the worst person on earth for opening something and going, oh, what's that, and having a sniff. This was quite some years ago, but no, now if I see a bottle on the floor, I'm just like, no, the house hasn't been cleared. So, and if they want me in there, and there are things in something else, they might have to send me in with a mercantile agent or someone like that But yeah, even if there was still chemicals and that on site from a cook, it's just saying to me, it's screaming out, I haven't, someone hasn't done their due diligence and they're not keeping me safe. So some things are just worth handing over and saying no. How'd you go there?
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a very messy rain.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Me too. Cool. Excellent. Can I borrow your book for a second there, Deb? Thanks. Okay, what are some of the things you would photograph when recording a room?
Walls.
Walls, yes.
I'll take an overview so that you have a starting point.
Exactly, yeah.
Ceilings, vents, wall
Excellent.
coverings, those type of things.
Cool. Something there's one there that we actually haven't discussed. I forgot to talk about that when I was talking. We'll go back over that later. 3 items that you install in your sampling kit.
Testing cassettes.
Low battery. So testing cassettes,
Cassette,
yes.
yeah.
Swaps.
Yep.
There's wipes, yeah, templates.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. In what position would you set up your kit? So I'm just going to get out of charge of
Central. Central.
On plastic bag.
Yeah. Excellent.
Because you like returning to it quite often and
Yeah.
avoid cost control. Good point.
I'll just put the charger on it. That's the main problem with it. Okay, and 3 pieces of PPE. So I'm just going to go behind here and put this in a switch. Yes. Yes. What else would you do as a minimum? Gloves. Excellent. Oh, damn. I made that hard, didn't I? Okay. Can you? Oh, yeah. Let's. Yeah, that'd be great. Well, hey. Oh, I made that fun. Okay. I'll just leave it like that. Should be right.
Is it okay to get a citizen?
Oh, it doesn't want to do that, does it? Oh, blast. Yeah, it's swinging around on the cord. Is there? Oh, we might have to do that. Okay. Let's try that. Where's the other plug? We'll try that one.
What's the reason for the shape of these sample tubes?
Sorry? The shape of them, that's specifically, every lab has a different shape on their tubes. Well, not every lab, it's just some of them have different machines. And it's how they would. Oh, that's where I am. Okay. Yep. Going again. Sorry about that. All right. Now, one thing I didn't discuss was the ambient temperature outside. Most kits, and it doesn't matter whether you have got a little test unit like this or you have your methanol swabs. They don't like being too hot and they don't like being too cold. So you're looking anything between 2 and 30 degrees. So if you've got kits with you, if I've got my kits and I'm travelling around in the car, I go into the shops, I pick up my case and I take it into the shops with me. It's a hot day outside. outside. I never just leave it sitting in the car, it gets too hot. And even when you have cool packs and things with them in Perth on a very hot day, it doesn't cut it. So unless you have an angel fridge or something in your car that's going to keep it cold, I just take it in and out of wherever I am, carry my kit with me.
Between 2 and 30, so.
Between 2 and 30 degrees, they're okay. When it gets lower than that, it's not good for them, and when it gets above 30 degrees, it makes them unstable. So just be careful if you're ever carrying anything like that with you, that you try and keep it between that temperature. Generally, if you're in the car, and even with my case, and it sits on the seat beside me, on the passenger seat, in the middle of summer, I have to keep a reflective cover, you know those ones that you put across the front of your windscreen? I keep one of them sitting on the case, on the top of the case, and the reason is because the sun coming through the window, even if the car is cool, just cooks, absolutely cooks the case. So just have to be a little bit careful when you're keeping things like this in hot cars. Okie dokie. Recording, labelling and tracking. You have to be able to go back and find all this information when someone asks you and be able to match one thing to another to another. One of the hardest things to do is if you've got cassettes and pictures of cassettes on a table, or a picture of something on the wall, a template on the wall up here like that, you can put it on 3 rooms and they will all look identical by the time you get home. And I have told people to be very careful with their referencing and be very clear on their referencing when they're writing on their templates. You think, oh yeah, I've got it. You know, I'll be fine when I get back. I've taken a picture, I know where that was, and then I've sat down with them and I've gone, where was this taken? And they're going, it was one of the rooms. It's like I thought, you know, they think they're going to remember when they get home, and they just all look the same, especially when you get up close on them. When I take my photos, I take them in a very specific order.
Those templates, they're reusable, if it's for using new
one
ones.
use and throw them away. Yeah. So you can't use them again. Cross-contamination. So what I do is, when I go into a room, I go click, 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 and I take all my photos, and I take one at a distance. If that was on the wall over here, I would take a photo at a distance, and then I take a photo right up close on it. And with the photo up close, I'd try and have in something like this, so I'd be able to go, oh, that's the exact position it was in. If I had to go back into the room and find that position. Now, then after I've done my test, I put it on the table, I put the test tube in the centre of it, and I take a picture straight down over the top. Then I don't use the camera again until I do the next room. So
Can you write on them?
yes, we're going to go through that. That's what we're doing now. So this is called your cross-referencing. So when I go to a house, I used to do M-room. It used to be master bedroom, and then I'd look at something, and there'd be something else, and I would have done M-room somewhere else. And it's going, well, that's not the master bedroom. What's that? And it was the main something other, or the main bathroom. M-room again. It would be the main bathroom. So I had to change around how I did all my referencing on each one.
Something easy to understand.
Something that you can understand, something you're going to have to write it 3-4 times. You don't want to put a lot of information on there. So I've got B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, all my bedrooms. Then my ensuite bathroom is EBR. Then I've got my main bathroom, MBR. So I know where I'm going to put that to on the map when I'm looking at this. And you've got to actually, well, you don't have to, but when I present it in a report, it's actually all written out on a spreadsheet so people can see very clearly. Yeah. And if they've got a spreadsheet and I've got a reference that means absolutely nothing to them, there, so usually I put the reference, the actual name, and then
like
the reading. Yeah. So but if you've got a couple that look the same and then you get them back from the lab and you go, was that the bathroom or the bedroom? So you've got to be a little bit careful with your referencing. And the referencing also goes over your chain of custody forms, which are in your book as well. So when we're doing our labelling, I on my templates, and I will write down that it is a master bedroom. It has might have the date on it. Some places actually put the position on it depending on how many I'm writing out. The address is on there for every template, so I don't have to look at it at another day and go, was that photo from that job or this job? So yeah, so I write a lot of information on these before I take photos and put them up on the walls. That information also has to be written on your tubes. You will notice on these tubes here that I have written, I've got a job number, a date, my technician, and the room it's in. So it's got to be able to, you can't put too much information on it, it's got to be able to fit on all these forms in little tiny spots. So hence the B1, B2, B3, or B1, B2, B3, whatever. So, and it's the same with these cassettes here. Well, these are not, you can't read these after 5 minutes. So you need, after 5 minutes, you throw them in the bin. Or after 10 minutes, you throw them in the bin. No matter what is on them, you throw them in the bin. That's why you must photographically record them straight away. So I need to know that that was the laundry, that was the date. And I usually put down negative or positive at the bottom before I photograph them. For that is just to make it easier when you're going back referencing a photo. I can go, oh, that was so referencing is very, very important. Here you can see I've got the address, 6420 Dean Street, Claremont. It is the kitchen, that's the date, and I was the one who did the testing. Up here, that's the kitchen, and it was positive. So all that information is in one little.
Claremont.
Be anywhere. So that was an absolutely beautiful little apartment. That little place, and I think actually someone had been smoking there, yes, most definitely, but only a couple bits had been missed in their cleaning. So they'd actually done quite well with getting rid of it. When you go into a place, I might do anything 15 or 20 tests sometimes, depending on how big or small the place is. So at the end, when I finish, I put them all on the line. I have written on the bottom where they're positive and negatives, referencing at the top, and if I've got the tubes, I'll put the tubes in the photo, so everything's packed into the one photo, and it's all just for referencing at a later date. All this referencing then has to go across onto your chain of custody forms. There's a chain of custody form number 16 in your book. Your chain of custody form, you've got to get all that information in very little lines there. And again, this is why we don't put a lot of information on them. It's just tying everything together. So, where are we? Hey. That's not the, no, I don't want to do there. Sorry, touchscreen TV. So, oh, my PowerPoint has actually completely failed this time. That's great. Failed. Okay, so what we've got in our books is we have a template, a copy of a template here. So what I want you to do is just, if that was your own home, if you can fill out the copy of the template and match the copy of the cassette to it, so the writing on the cassette to it. So just pick a place in your own home, write it up, and if you can't think of whether it's going to be master bedroom or not, I'll just put there, write up the testing template you would put on the wall in a master bedroom. So if you match the cassette to it, and then across the page, you will see that there is a laboratory form. So you have to start by writing up the actual template itself on here, as I had done the one that I showed you up on the screen. On there what room you were in, what address the property was, maybe your name, if you've got more than one person on site doing the testing. If we're doing a large amount of testing, I'll often go out and
That's ironic, I live on Amethyst.
information, if we take it across here, they've got on page number 16, they've got information at the top of the sheet. Have a look at the chain of custody form and see if you can't transfer that information down onto the chain of custody form.
Samples and the templates have a job number on as well, as a minimum, or
If
that job number there, but you've also got the address.
yeah, if I've done my job right, I have generally put the job number on the actual template itself.
On there, yeah.
I would put a job number on here, but not on these tiny little cassettes. And that's why I put the cassettes inside the template before I take a photo. Because you only have such a small amount of information, small amount of area to write that information on. With my referencing for job numbers, I used to once upon a time have a just a straight system, which was 2019 and then 010, 011, 012, 013 when I did jobs. But I found often when I was getting called out at the last minute, I didn't have that system with me on hand to be able to pick the next job number, and I was jumping all over with my job numbers. So I've now changed it to, if I was doing 192 South Western Highway, I would be 2019, and then the job number will be 2019 192S. So I can actually look at those job numbers fairly easily and pretty well remember where I've been just by a quick glance at it, especially when we get reports in. The phone about a specific job number, it just makes it pop back up in my mind. So, but how you reference is 100% what works for you. This is just something I've sort of got used to over time. When I was used to have a lot of, some people just put A, B, C, D, E when they're referencing, but to me that didn't work. It was too hard to refer back to photos and know what I was looking at. Are you going there? Julio. The last thing you do is you do relinquish by you. date, time, or link is by date, time, technician and signature down here. There's a piece on the bottom right hand side, chain of custody form. So for when you have gone to a house and you are taking analytical swabs that need to be sent off to a laboratory. So if they're not clear, they will contact you back before they do any testing. And if you tick the wrong thing, you could be in for a bill that you don't want. And it can be anything up to $125 you use, so you want to get the forms ticked correctly when you're actually doing it.
Tess, with these analysis or tests required, that's for the lab to do, that's the kind of test you want?
Yes.
Yeah. So with one home that you're testing, could you have multiple types of tests that you're asking for?
If I've done 10 or more analytical tests in one property, I will always include a field blank.
Yeah.
And that a field blank is specifically to prove that you're using all the right equipment and you're doing it in the right way. So a field blank, you put on a fresh pair of gloves, you open up one of your swabs, you flick it open into the air around you, you wipe your gloves up and down, you put it straight back into the tube and put that down. That should come back as 0. It is just to say that I haven't gone and used the same gloves in there, and I'm going from room to room. It's, as you say, it is a control. It's considered a field blank. We only do that if we do 10 or more. Once you do 20 tests, you've got to do 2 field blanks. So it starts to become very expensive just to put blanks through with your testing. There is something in there called composite testing. You'll notice composite testing is something that we actually don't like to do at all, and we will talk people out of it if we can. And that is, they will go into a house, they will take 10 swabs from around the house. Now they might put the 10 swabs in different tubes, but what they do when they get back to the laboratory is they take a little piece from each tube, put it all into one mix, and they say, you have a reading of 51 micrograms per 100 centimetres square, and or 130 or whatever, but you don't know where in these tubes that is. We had a house for sale that they'd done the right thing. They had gone and had the testing done, but they had a composite test done. Someone who was wanting to buy that house came and said, this is what the composite test says. What can you tell me about it? And I said, well, to be quite honest, I don't know from what they've given you. Yes, there's meth in that house. It could all be in the garage, and there might be none in the rest of the house. It could be spread throughout the whole house evenly, because what they're giving you is the whole lot put into one, bring it out, and then divide it by 9. It just doesn't work. Then to have, once you've got that come back and it's come back as a whole, you can't say, oh look, can you just, you can't ring the lab and say, just pop the bathroom and the laundry through because it's more than likely there. They'll say, no, you have to have all 10 done, all tests done analytically to find out where that is. And at, let's say $100 a pop, there's $1,000 straight up. That's why we go in and we do rapids first. We go from room to room to room. We quickly see if there's anything there. If there's nothing there, you don't have to pay any more. If there's something there in any of the rooms, I'll say to you, I'll ring you and say, hey, we have something here, in this room, this one, it costs you so much to do it. Do you want me to do it while I'm on site now? You might go, oh, I have to speak to the owner. And I'll go, okay, if you have to call me back, you're going to be paying a callback fee, or I'll give you 5 minutes to have a quick chat to them and have it done and save yourself a whole lot of money. So everyone's got their different ways of doing it. That's mine. Composite tests are not for the sort of work that I believe that we're doing out there. Composite tests are great if you've got a really large area that you need to do. If I had this room to do, it's a very big area to go to one spot and go, yeah, I'm just going to test this spot for area. So I might take 3 different tests around there. Someone might take 5 tests to see as a whole if there's anything in the room, and then get it in under the one slide through at the lab, which would be a big saving instead of paying $500. But yeah, if it's all around a house and it's inside and outside, it doesn't work. You can't read the results at all. So, yes, okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a swab. I'll start with one of these. They're easy to use. We're going to do an analytical swab. I'll show you how it's done. Now, it doesn't matter whether we're using a small swab like this or a large swab like this. Before you start, you've got to put on your gloves. Pretend I've got my gloves on. And you have to choose where you're going to actually do your testing. Oh, that's a fresh mask. There's going to be nothing on that little sucker. So if I was to be doing up here, I use blue tack. Some people, everyone uses something different. Some people put it on the outside and go straight over the top. I always use a little bit of blue tack behind and try to take as little paint off as I can. And I would put that, say, on the window there. And you open out your swab, fold it back in on itself, so it's a nice little compact piece. You need to get a little bit of push behind it, but you don't want to gouge into the wall, and neither do you want to be a fairy fluttering above the top of it. So what you're going to do is you're going to do, on this one here, I would do what we call an end swipe. So I would go 1, turn it 2, turn it 3, turn it 4, turn it 5, and then scoop that bit up. Then we would turn it to a new fresh surface, and we're going to do the swipe again. We started in this corner, but now we're going to start at this corner. Instead of going the end, we're going to go going to Z, we're going to do the end. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Third time, and this is a NIOSH technique. So you've got to always do the 3 and always do the same pressure on them when you're going from surface to surface. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and scoop it up at the end. Once you've done that, you open it out, elongate it a little, and you pop it into the tube. You don't scrunch them up into little balls and shove them down into the tube. The labs get angry, they don't like it. And then you've got something that's got some movement inside the tube, and of course you reference the outside before you go any further. Never forget to reference it, otherwise it gets there and you've got no idea where you've been. So again, I would have written on my template, and I would put my template down here. I would put my tube in the centre, it would all be written on, and I would take a photo square over the top of it. And I would put my tube aside, and this would go into the rubbish pile to be picked up at the end of the day. So, anyone want to have a try of that? No? No? Come on, Deb. You're a bit right there. What I get you to do is to open your packets in front of you and just put your square template on the desk in front of you. You don't have to get up. Pop your gloves on. No snapping of the gloves and frightening people. Used to always be told that in the ambulance service, don't snap your gloves. Just grab the little alcohol wipe you've got in front of you. Yours in front there. So if you just grab this one here, this alcohol swipe. All the other stuff in here is for indicative testing. We'll just do a pretend alcohol swipe here. So you're looking for this one here. It should be on your desk in front of you somewhere. have your template in front of you. If you just pop the lid, just sit it over the top, excellent. Just in case there's air conditioning going and we've got airbornes out there doing their little thing. Okay, then you open up your swipe.
Do we write on our template first?
You would always write on your template first, yes, before you put it on the wall. I'll often do my template before I get out to a job with the main parts of it written on it. One of these, Deb? You looking for one of these?
Right, in front of you, directly in front of you.
That one.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is, what I do is usually it comes about that size, I just open it out, close it, I just double check the size of it and make sure it's all in one piece nice, and then I create a little bundle with it, but I fold it neatly, I don't scrunch it, I just fold it into a little bundle, because we're going to have to turn that in on itself to get a fresh surface twice more after this. Then we're going to, inside your template, we're going to do a swipe. So this is over exaggerated. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flick up.
Table's dirty.
Jeez.
We often take a lot of paint off walls with these ones. Well, not the methanol ones we do, but we do warn people. Once you've done that, the surface you were working on like that, we are then going to turn it around and put that in on itself, so we've got a fresh surface. Then you're going to, if you did a Z before, side to side, this time we're going to do an N. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and flick up. No.
So I'm being incompetent.
There will be no scrubbing. So, and then we turn again. At this time we're going to have to open it out, flip it over, and turn it so we've got another fresh surface. If we go back to the first one we did and do that again, 2, 5 swipes around and flick off the end of the page. Open up your tube, make a nice little piece to put down inside the tube. We're not going to squash it in lumps. The labs do not like lumps. And put the lid on. Then we would reference our tube, put our template on the desk, our tube in the middle. It would show both. Take a photo over the top, and then that's ready to be written onto your chain of custody. So do we all understand that?
Yeah.
Cool. Okie dokie. Well, that sort of covers everything with regard to just your basic collecting routine samples. Any other questions?
Any vacancies, job vacancies?
No, I'm afraid not. Just the two of us at the moment.
So if we did want to take this further, there's obviously more training we need to do, or?
Yes, there is.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And how do we go about that?
We can go over that later on. Anyone else on just on what we've done today? All happy with? Excellent.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did have one question.
Yes.
Do you have any legal obligations as a person doing the tests in having to report them, or?
I report, my main legal obligation is I have to report only a fact. So I report that
Positive, negative.
it was positive or negative. It was 0, it was, if I do an analytical test, it was 39 micrograms per 100 centimetres square. I cannot put down that it looks like it was a smoker's room.
Yeah.
That's just making an assumption, and I can only report a fact.
And once you've given that information to the person who's requested the testing, then you've done your job.
Yes, I have. Yeah. So I will put recommendations on how they take it forward from there.
What's your report look like?
huge.
Is it?
Yeah, I'll go. Okay, anyone else?
And what's the possibility for the future that you would be able to do your own testing?
You can do your own testing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it, no problem. Anyone actually.
I mean, not sending your things to the lab. but you
Oh,
have-
the machines that they actually do
Shows where they
Yeah.
put things in, they just shake it.
their colour, they're the same as the indicative ones. They show yay or nay. They don't show an actual a reading. The machines that actually handle the readings, they're worth over $250,000. So they're and they've got to be calibrated
The yay or
specifically
nay
to
be
do this.
cheaper to do as an interim initial test?
Sorry?
With the yay or nay samples, would they be cheaper in the initial?
The
stage?
rapid, I always say to people to start on their rapid tests, unless they actually had a lab set up. I would say start on your rapid tests and work from there. Just trying to sort of for people to save money.
So for our industry, so to speak, we're just looking at, this sort of test is an indicative test as to whether there's something there or not, and then up to the landlord or whoever's engaging us to decide where they want to go from there.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you very